I'm from a place that's completely different than this. It's flat and boring. All the buildings are new because our state's barely 100 years old. Well, the Spaniards came through here in Washington and just like they took over a lot of the tribes out here. Um, they their conquests were of epic proportions, though.
The thing that kind of sticks is you think about the genocide that happened.
Oh yeah, IBH is a mass genocide of my people. I mean, not IBH, IHS, Indian Health Services, is a huge genocide of the American people. They make it so hard to get, like, even dental assistance. Although we get it for free, it takes months for me to even get on the waiting list. Like, I got a cavity, and they told me it's gonna be another 3 months before I'm even on the waiting list. They put me back another month. It's the Bureau of Indian Affairs. It's the United States government ties into all these sovereign nations. We're supposedly sovereign, but like we still have to follow a bunch of laws, and specifically the laws set behind in treaties with the United States government that sometimes gives us less rights. Like we have to ask the government to control our own money. Yeah. My grandfather was part of the American Indian movement. AIM. Yeah, he was 1971 Lincoln chapter president, like, of the American Indian movement.
Where is he now?
He's dead. John Tubert's Arbuckle. He's on Google. He got arrested on federal charges for greasing railroad tracks and conspiring to commit acts of homeland terrorism. He had like grease and rags, and they were in glass jars, and they said he was planning to make Molotov cocktails, but he was out there greasing railroad tracks. He pled guilty to that. He did like 11 years. He was a really cool guy though. He was huge on the American Advocate rights. Like I was part of the Olympia train blockade last Thanksgiving. Um, it was a 14-day long train blockade, second longest in U.S. history, and we were blocking the fracking supplies to North Dakota. Oh man, well, it's hard to really describe. Like it goes from rolling plains to mountains to deep valleys. It's got rifts that are the size of God's fingernails and stuff. It's a gorgeous land. They strip mined the Black Hills out there for all of its gold way back in like during Prohibition and stuff. And but those were like sacred burial lands. Like I have ancestral burial grounds that are like old mine shafts now. Like, and all the bones and stuff are the dust that's on the floor.
I would call that a sacrilege.
It really was. But it happened in a time when my people didn't have any rights. I've been calling this coming for years, man. Like, I'm like, I started saying this like 2 years ago, but I still think within the next if we make it within the next 2 or 3 years, and if the world doesn't collapse by then, we might make it another 25. Just off of the resources we consume. And it's just going to be big when it does happen. So, get good with whatever you believe in, you know?
Do you think in any way that's why a lot of people are falling off the grid and not investing in the old ways any longer?
Yeah, I'm totally like one of those guys who's going to disappear in a mountain when it all falls out. Like, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna be alright. I'll go out there and catch like rabbits and stuff, you know. I know people who are smart enough to build radiation detectors or whatever. Like that stuff's all really available. And when it all goes down, you know, like those military bases are either going to be depleted or empty because they're going to have to deploy troops everywhere. You know what I mean? What's a few guards to, you know, a couple hundred men that are, you know, decently armed from a sporting goods store? Nothing. Like, well, but think about it. If it goes down, it's either going to come down to somebody's going to drop an EMP and take out all electrical systems, or somebody's going to nuke someone else, and then it's all going to go to shit. Everybody's just going to start throwing whatever they got at each other. All conflicts that have been building up tension the past few years are going to break out into full-scale wars within a couple of weeks, tops. if it happens. Like it just needs to be one shot fired in one country, and it's all everywhere right now.
Domino effect.
Yeah, like definitely terrified for the future. And I can really just feel it in my bones, man. Like if you watch any bit of the news, man, it's all telling you the same thing. It's getting really bad out there, and like that's why I try to stay detached from technology, so they can't have a pin on me. You know, they don't have anywhere to follow me. I've got places that nobody but my family knows about.
Somebody, maybe you could say something about this. Somebody the other day said they moved out of Tulsa because of the amount of racism that was going on there. Is there anything that,
Yeah,
like, what's the story behind that?
yeah, that place is bad. People just shoot at each other for shooting at each other.
Like, what's the general, like, living circumstance? Like, what's the grade?
Open racism. I was looked at as an outcast because I always kicked it with like black people and Mexicans and stuff. Like when I was on the streets, but like I look white, and people were really judgmental. But there's a lot of natives out there, and we kind of did whatever we wanted, and like we didn't really have any gang affiliation on the streets until like some stuff happened in prisons and stuff started breaking out on the streets. Well, it was like some of these gangs were on the streets and in prisons, but a bunch of these gangs were just like old school prison gangs, like brotherhoods. I can't really talk about those because there's no statute on shit like that.